Hey everybody, welcome back to a new series on this channel known as TerraTalks, where basically I just play Terraria and I just talk about random stuff that was generated by a random topic generator. And today we're gonna have a guest with us, and probably for every episode we're gonna have guests, but probably the main one today, and that today will be my friend Noah.
Hello there.
He, as you can maybe tell already, very big Star Wars fan of the Obi-Wan references.
Not your biggest Star Wars fan, who's also a friend.
Cough, cough, Will's Bricks Productions, cough. But I could have him on later. I think that'd be fun. To have like a bigger YouTuber on. Anyways, it's time to generate the random topic, boys. Now let's see what we get. The topic, everyone, is: have you ever given a presentation to a large amount of people, and how did it go? So, since Noah's the guest on the show, I'm gonna let him speak first for his experiences.
I feel like that's code for I don't know what to say, so Noah, you go first.
I mean, it is true. I mean, like, I do have experiences, like, I think we're at the same experience, but I just, gotta be polite. Am I right? Yes, I am.
At least personally, most of that for me is just school presentations.
Right.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, same for me too.
In front of groups.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of talking either. As you can probably tell from my first episode of YouTube, if you've ever watched it, which there's a likely chance you have, and I really do want to get better, and I feel the only way is through exposure. It's kind of like exposure therapy for fears, if you've ever heard about it. Personally, for me, I'm gonna say that yes, I have done presentations, but just not in front of a large audiences. Like, I would say the max was 15 to 20. And that was my oral comm days, which was about a year ago, I'd say. Just a little bit under a year. And while oral comm was not my strongest suit, I still did pretty okay. I'm just more of a person who prepares for speeches rather than just, being able to wing them. So
you're gonna have a good
bad time. Okay, I might have to edit that out. Anyways.
What? You don't like Sans references?
I mean, I like Sans, but I don't like references of Sans. It's just a weird personal thing I'm gonna say. Anyways, so another topic, since this one is not really as too much of applying to us, that I can at least relate to it through it, is just public speaking in general. Like, for a YouTuber, I know that public speaking is a huge part of it, and that if you're good at public speaking, there's a good chance you can get a large following. And while this is not the case, very charismatic and upbeat attitudes do generally lead to more people subscribing or liking your content. At least that's how I view it. And that's kind of why I started this channel. Not just mainly because I wanted to just share with people like gaming, but also because I wanted to improve my skills at talking. Yeah. Besides that, not really too much. Okay. Now that this topic is run dry, I'll generate another one. Let's see what we get. Okay, no. The topic is, what is the most overrated movie, in your opinion?
That's kind of hard, because I'm one who likes a lot of overrated movies.
I see. I see. I'm guessing, like, Star Wars and Marvel, probably the main offenders here. Unfortunately.
I guess it's kind of on topic, but at least personally, like, I loved Endgame. That was a great movie.
Right. But
as a standalone movie, it would not have been a good movie. It was a good climax to the series, but you only understood it if you watched every other Marvel movie.
Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of movies that have a huge continuum, is that, like, you get into them late and you don't really understand most of the stuff. Like, got into the Marvel scene at around Infinity War, and a lot of people, like, I didn't understand who Tony Stark was, I didn't understand Captain America, I didn't understand the Hulk. I mean, I understood Doctor Strange, but only because that's one of the only movies I saw before. Besides that, I was totally blind into it.
You see, my first movie, like Marvel movie was Ant-Man, and then I saw Captain America: Civil War, and so I'm like, okay, yeah, this is fun to watch. Let's watch all of them. So then I went back with my dad and rewatched the majority of the different Marvel movies.
Now, a topic I'm going to talk about that I'm not going to generate is the recent Terraria update because well, I'm playing Journey's mode right now, and I'm playing the Journey. I'm playing. Well, I just said I'm playing the Journey. Blah, blah, reflub. I'm playing the Journey mode right now, and it's a lot of fun. Where you could literally just have like customize so much with the enemy difficulty slider, the infection spread rate, the personal power menu. That's really cool. Like there's God mode, there's enemy spawn rates and stuff. Really cool. And no, I know you've been playing normal mode for
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. How has your experience been from a Terraria player who's kind of recently started?
Um, well, after kind of being thrown in the deep end with you, I'm surprised by how easy and how smooth it can go.
Yeah, for context, so before I started the YouTube channel, me and Noah here, I invited him onto a master mode world playthrough, well, and an expert mode world playthrough before even that, and it was, I'm not gonna lie, Noah, how would you describe it in your own words?
Hmm. Uh, Way harder than I should have been doing at that point. At that point in my experience.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think introducing someone to like, okay, let's say the Eye of Cthulhu Master is a really good idea, and I don't know why I thought it was, because that's not how I learned, and I feel like everybody should learn in their own way. I just don't think that's a valid way personally.
Mm-hmm.
But however, it's still doing pretty good. Or you're still doing pretty good. Seeing as what you have experienced so far, like you've taken on the eye and the what's it called, Slime King. I've heard,
Yeah, so far I have done both of those.
and I've heard you said that's relatively easy too.
A lot easier than I was expecting, yes.
Yeah,
I got used to very difficult work.
right,
So
right.
doing this in a nice change of pace.
Hmm. And speaking of Eater of Worlds, Noah, you're about that progression right now.
Yes, I'm honestly seriously right now I'm looking for the things to break so that I can be ready to do it once I am all equipped.
Ah, nice. Yeah, it's definitely a fun experience. The Eater of Worlds, since I'm gonna say this right now, and I think this is a very valid opinion. In fact, maybe even a fact. Terraria AI and just boss design is one of the most unique game mechanics, game stuff in general in any kinds of video games. Like, just tell me what other video game has a worm that you could see coming, but still will kick your butt. Oh, jeez, older dodge. Uh, like seriously, it's so special. And this was
Mm-mm.
years ago when they developed it, like 2011 years ago. Next topic, everyone: game design. So no,
Oh yeah.
I know you're in so you were in a certain class called well, I want to say what it is, but like an AP class about computer programming, and and Unity we've seen before, you've seen before. So and how do you feel about game design?
Um, I feel like it's my dream field to get into. I realistically know it's not long term, but I'm hoping I can get a significant. I'm hoping that even when an adult, I can be able to do it in my free time. That was a very choppy sentence to get out.
I understand. I understand. People, it's hard to speak as we mentioned in the beginning. Um, I also have like a similar feeling about that. Like I've always wanted, like as a child, play video games, but making them has always been interesting to me. Like I've talked to people before, and like whenever I asked them what they wanted to design about a game, they've never really been like, oh, they've always been like, oh, I want to make a Call of Duty. Oh, I want to make a Minecraft. Oh, I want to make a night of fort. What is that game? Anyways, anyways, For me, it's just been like, yeah, but you gotta like, you have to think about a lot of it. What do you want your UI elements to be kind of like? What do you want your, if you want to have NPCs, what do you want your NPCs to be like? What do you want, like, you have to figure out a lot of kind of things for it. Like, I took computer programming, and the class in the end, instead of really programming like a computer, it was more about game design in like really general because well, we learned about Unity, and as you might know, Unity, besides Unreal Engine, is the biggest uh, platform for coding video games. Like,
Mhm.
me and Noah here went to this event at our school that was all about making stuff. Like, it was like a hackathon as they call it, and we decided to make a game. Um, it did not go as well as we wanted it to. Let's just say
Oh yeah.
I got 2 hours of sleep and I got sick and it was near that time. But but it was worth it because I got a lot of like knowledge, not even just like knowledge of coding at all, just more of knowledge like, well, you have to balance like it's not all about like designing your game mechanics, but also design like how you want to lay out your development. Like you can't always just like be like, oh, I want to do this, this, and this, and expect it to go that way, because you always will have something that just be like, nope, you have to do it differently, and it's just like, well, that sucks, but it's a really good. In my opinion, it's a really good learning curve.
We learned that we had a lot to learn.
Yes, that is a better way than I could ever say to describe that. To be honest. Oh jeez. Um. So yeah, in a way, game design has a lot of parts, but I'd say the two main parts, as I've just said, are deciding what you want in your game and deciding how you're going to implement it slash your schedule based around it. I do like, and that brings up a point. Indie versus AAA. Personally, I'm an indie guy.
Hmm.
Super indie. Like I think there are some good AAA games out there, especially from my childhood. Mario Galaxy, and other Mario games too. It's just that I think indie games have more soul, heart, and time and effort put into them than most AAA games, since a AAA studio always has people who will like support it and will give it money, and they'll just be get lazy and be like, we can do this, it's fine.
Mhm.
When
At least
sometimes,
personally, I end up more on the other end of the spectrum. Like a well-made indie game, I can really appreciate, but I just like the polish that can come with a well-refined indie or what's it called, AAA game. Because I sometimes find indie games lack the refining or support that would they need to become truly great.
right, and that's a lot, yeah. And while I do agree to some point, well, that it's just while some indie games are not as most indie games are not as polished, I do think there is a lot of indie games that people don't really give enough credit to, but do an amazing job of like telling a story or something. Like I've seen a lot more
True.
story based games in my opinion that are really good. Uh, like for example, not even just for example, well, I wonder which game I'm gonna bring up. Terraria. Terraria's story or lore, I like to say lore, is a lot up to interpretation, but there is now at least there's official lore, um, and it basically you can go read that by yourself. But for me, they do while they do put a lot of time and thinking to their story. It's just to me, it's just like some parts of the story are not well explained, and yes, I see people complain about like, oh, well, why wasn't the brain of Cthulhu finished to be mechanical? Why hasn't this happened? Why did the Cthulhu flee to the dark side of the moon? What does that even mean? But for my opinion, I like when you could open up a story to your own thoughts. And some people they're like, no, but I'm not good at thinking about that. And it's just like, well, and it's just like maybe if you don't like it, maybe you can listen to somebody else's theory and agree with it. Well, everyone, you might have missed out on a last part there. I accidentally forgot to record some of the building. But as you can see, we have a house for the guy. We talked about game design, speeches, and other shenanigans going on. and had a few problems with connection. But personally, I think it went pretty well. How about you? What do you think about it, Noah?
I think it went pretty well too. I, I, I'm very self-critical at times, and I need to not do that. So I think it went as well as it could have for a first go.
Yeah, I also yeah, personally I do have self confidence issues with like voice and like not doing it the perfect time. But I've been starting to realize it doesn't matter, but it's still a little bit of a problem. Anyways, well guys, if you have any questions or like to suggest something, then write something in the comments below. And if you really like the video, then consider giving it a thumbs up, sharing it with a friend, or even subscribing. My name has been Joe, and our co-host has been Noah. And before we go, would you like to say anything to the audience, Noah?
Just don't die. That's a good plan.
That is a very good plan. Anyways, we will see you guys in the next Terra Talks. See ya.